When someone goes missing, we are always left with so many questions. In some of the cases we go over, a lot of those questions can be answered. In the tragic story of Alissa Turney, the case just gets more and more disturbing. In 2001, 17-year-old Alissa was being checked out of school early by her stepfather on the last day of her junior year. She said goodbye to her boyfriend in his woodshop class and walked off campus. This would be the last time that anyone would see her again. This is the tragic story of Alissa Turney. As time went on, we would learn that the life that Alissa had to endure growing up was one of nightmares. A life we would never wish upon anyone. Sadly, all of this would stem from her stepfather, Michael Turney. In order to understand this case, we have to go over a lot of disturbing information, and when I say a lot, that is not an overstatement. In 2001, Alissa was a junior in high school. Her 4 older brothers had already moved out of their house, so it was only Alissa, her half-sister Sarah, who was 12 at this time, and her stepfather Michael. Michael was the biological father of Sarah. Alissa and Sarah both had the same mother named Barbara Stram, who died from lung cancer when the girls were really young. Before this, Michael had fully adopted Alissa, so she was left in his care when her mother passed away. Even despite these tragic circumstances, Alissa was not able to return to her biological father, who was restricted from seeing her since she was 2.5 years old, which was court-ordered from the state of Arizona. During her time growing up, Michael was extremely strict and overprotective. I will go over into more disturbing detail a little later on in the video. One thing I will go over at this time is that Michael loved making these contracts for his kids to sign. In their contracts would be rules and things that the kids needed to abide by. Michael stated that he was checking Alissa out from school early that day so they can get lunch to celebrate the end of her junior year and so he can go over her new contract of rules for the summer. He stated that when they arrived back home, they got in a huge argument. Michael left Alissa at the house to run some errands and to pick up Sarah to bring her home. When they arrived back at home, Alissa was gone. All that was left in her room was her house key and a note that Alissa supposedly wrote. The note reads, "Dad and Sarah, when you dropped me off at school today, I decided that I really am going to California. Sarah, you said you didn't want me around. Look, you got it. I'm gone. That's why I saved my money. Dad, I took $300 from you. Alissa." Michael headed down to the police station and reported Alissa as a runaway, and for years this is what everyone believed truly happened. A runaway teen trying to get away from her overly strict stepfather. Alissa's case would stay open with no real progress until 2008, when a self-proclaimed serial killer named Thomas Heimer claimed to have killed Alissa. This was the biggest lead in the case that investigators have ever had, so they dove in to investigate. After some time, they were able to poke holes in what Thomas was saying, and his story would begin to fall apart. One thing that we have to understand is that when people like Thomas are in prison with nothing else to lose, they want to gain another minute of fame. They take responsibility for high-profile cases to get their names back in the news. Even if this was a false lead at the time, this did get fresh eyes back on the case. 7 years had already passed and new investigators wanted to start back at the beginning. They began to interview neighbors, friends, and family members, and what they would uncover would set their sights on Michael Turney. His story of how that day went was starting to unfold, and the disturbing things that went on during Alissa's life would start to be uncovered. As family members and close friends began to be interviewed, things that happened in Alissa's life and things she told her closest friends started to reveal that Michael Turney was truly a monster in disguise. Now, there is so much that we can go over that happened in Alissa's life by her stepfather, but I will just go over a few things so you can get an idea of who he truly was. Back when Barbara was in her last months and required extreme pain medication, Barbara's family stated that Michael would constantly try to give her her meds even when she had already been given them. During this time, Michael said he was fired from his job, and this would be the sob story he would tell people, that 3 weeks before his wife's passing, he was fired by his job. In reality, he quit, and in order to make sure Barbara still fell under his medical and life insurance policy, she mysteriously passed away hours before those expired. To this day, Barbara's family believes that Michael played a huge part in making sure this happened. There is no factual evidence to back this up, but as we learn more and more, it seems very possible this could be what truly happened. When Alissa was 9 years old and in the 3rd grade, she walked by her teacher Diane Boardman and told her that she was having sex with her dad. Michael denied these allegations and said she was just making something up that she had no idea about. At this point in time, Michael and Diane were in a romantic relationship together. Diane did find it very odd that she would say something of this nature at such a young age, but decided to brush it off. Soon after, Diane and Michael would stop seeing each other, and this would actually be the last person that Michael would have a romantic relationship with. Later during the investigations, Sarah Turney would uncover something on a home video of a family vacation she had with Michael and Alissa.
What?
Hit the red button now.
I don't want to. How do I record?
Hit the red button.
Sarah! I'm recording.
Sarah! Sarah! Dad's a pervert.
Yes, sir. Give me the camera now. And you're still recording. And Alissa is stupid moron.
Sarah really being too young to understand what she is even telling her, but realizes later in life that at that moment, Alissa was revealing who her dad really was. This wasn't the only recording going on. Michael had installed many security cameras at the house. He claimed it had to do with the break-ins and theft that happened in the past. This would explain the cameras outside of the house, but these weren't the only cameras that he installed. Michael had also installed a camera in the vent that was pointed directly at the living room sofa, along with cameras in other private areas so he could watch Alissa. He also tapped the phone line so he can listen to every phone call that would come through to his house. All of these actions were solely directed at Alissa. Sarah, as she got older, was able to live a normal life. She could stay over at friends' houses, come home late, and do as she pleased. Alissa, on the other hand, was unable to do any of these things. Michael said he did this because she had a learning disability and that he needed to take care of her. He had to control every aspect of her life. When she got her first job at Jack in the Box, Michael would even spy on her from the parking lot and record what she was doing while she was working. Surprisingly, Michael did allow her to have a boyfriend, and he was the one she said she was leaving school early on to that final day. He later revealed to police that Alissa told him something very disturbing that her father tried to do with her. He said that Alissa had told him her stepfather had tried sexually abusing her when she was younger. He claimed that Alissa told him it happened after school one day when her father had picked her up early. She said he pulled over into an unoccupied area somewhere in the desert. He started fooling around with her, and it got aggressive. Another friend told police that Alissa told her that she woke up one night gagged with a sock and tied to a chair. Michael has denied everything. Sarah Turney stated that her father used to give them his medication when they were little kids. He also gave her and her friends their first Oxycontin. Now this is just a small glimpse into the monster that Michael Turney is. If I went into every allegation that has been stated about Michael Turney, we would be here for hours. After years of thinking her father was innocent, Sarah Turney finally came to the point where she realized who her father truly was. Since she was Michael's biological daughter, she didn't have to endure the horrific things that Alissa did. In fact, even in the beginning, she backed her father up with him being innocent. As time went on, the allegations and evidence was too much to deny. The man who she once saw as her hero was now a monster. She pursued justice for Alissa, and she wasn't going to stop. She took to social media and the internet had her back. The pressure was on law enforcement to bring this monster down. Finally, after almost 20 years, on August 20th of 2020, Michael Turney was arrested and charged by a Maricopa County grand jury on second-degree murder of Alissa. Even until this day, her body has never been found. Sadly, this could have all possibly been avoided. If at some point someone believed what young Alissa was saying or came forward with what she told her friends, or even if she went to the right people with what was going on, Michael could have been put behind bars long ago. We live in a world where monsters like this live among us, walking free, committing these disturbing crimes against the innocent. We can't let this continue, and we have to speak up. I just want to end with one thing. If you or anyone you know is being abused, don't be afraid to come forward and tell someone. A friend, a family member, call a hotline, the police. Just tell someone you feel you can trust. Cases like Alissa's could have been prevented if people knew what was really going on behind closed doors. If you want a deeper dive into this case, Sarah Turney has a podcast called Voices for Justice. The first 30+ episodes are solely focused on Alissa's case and dive into every detail of what happened. Find her on any podcast platform you use and go show her some love. Thank you all for watching, and I will talk to you all in my next video.